Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Hare Om, Hare Krishna.
Should we? Yes. 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 We will. I'll do. Get any first? Badrinarayan Prabhu, let's do Achman first, and we'll chant the appropriate mantras, and everyone can repeat. You know how to do this. Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvapastam Gatopi Va Yasmarit Pundarikaksham Sabhaya Abhyantara Shuchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Keshavaya Waiting for the minister of sannyas. Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastam utopi va vyasmaret pundarikaksham abhyantara Shuchi, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Gatopi Va Vyasmare Pundarikaksham Sabhaya Abhyantara Shuchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. I hope I'll have a little time to speak, just to address at least briefly the concept of our Tridandi Sannyas and actually its history. And then I'm going to ask anyone here, at least God brothers, who would like to say something personally about Badrinarayan Prabhu, that they can also speak. So that gives you a little time to prepare. What we'll be doing, our schedule will be as follows. So have talk, and thereafter we'll take the danda, and Badrinarayan Prabhu will take his cloth and he'll bring it around for everyone to bless. And after that he will go and get dressed. And Niranjan Maharaj will accompany him, and he'll come down as his sannyas vesh. In the meantime, actually, we will take the danda and we'll offer it to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Panchatattva and Radha Madhav and Lord Nishingadev for when he comes back. Or do you prefer to be here to see that? Huh? He's in his room upstairs, not me. Huh? Yeah, you have to take the cloth. Yeah. And then after offering that danda, on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara, and even the name, which will not change, that was Badrinarayan Prabhu's desire. Then we'll go outside in the sun and we'll have the fire sacrifice out there, and that will be the conclusion of the ceremony. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivash Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yesterday I was reading Chaitanya Bhagavat before the evening kirtan, reading the chapters related to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas. I was actually just looking to see whether in Chaitanya Bhagavat this sannyas verse, which is found in Srimad Bhagavatam and quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Eta astaya paratmanishtam adyashitam purvatme maharishibi, whether it was there, and then I got entangled in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas. And briefly, because it's so wonderful, I'd just like to relate that, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's 24th year, that means 1486 plus 24 means 1510, and that is 504 years. 504 years ago, a little earlier, in the winter months, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Sridham Mayapur, went to Katwa, and from His Holiness Keshav Bharati Maharaj, the original Keshav Bharati, he accepted sannyas. Tridandi sannyas in the Ekadanda. And the original impetus, although of course it's already there in Mahabharata, sanyasa krichamo shanta nishta shanti parayana. Of the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also mentioned, and it's described there how he'll take sannyas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already returned from Gaya. He'd already taken initiation, exhibited his position, Swarup, as a great devotee. Of course, he is the Supreme Lord, but taking the role of a devotee, of a Vaishnava, and exhibiting transcendental symptoms of ecstasy wherever he was. And so one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Srila Prabhupada repeats this pastime often, he began to chant Gopi, 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 Vrindavan. And some of his students took exception to this because by now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taught everyone to chant the names of Lord Krishna. And now all of a sudden he was chanting Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. Imagine if one of our sannyasis here started chanting Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. I'm just repeating it, by the way. And so they said, why are you chanting? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy. He was in his own bhav. And he took exception to being told to chant Krishna's name. And he started criticizing Krishna. In the mood in which the gopis would criticize Krishna, Srimati Radharani in 10th canto criticizes Krishna. Who is this Krishna? He's such a cheater. He is Lord Ramachandra. Then he defaced the Suparnaka as a woman. He cheated Bali. He didn't even fight face to face with him, but he killed him in the back. So many examples. Bali Maharaj, he just surrendered everything. And what did he do as Vamadev? Then he pushed him down into the lower planetary system. So how can you put any faith in such a cheater? And of course the students became very outraged and they began to criticize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then took a stick and started to chase the student, so much so that the student fled for his life. Went to the other students, and they started to talk amongst themselves. And then, of course, the telephones are off. And then that interaction built up. We know what it's like sometimes when we're talking amongst ourselves and we sort of feed each other of some misinformation or misunderstanding. And ultimately, they began to criticize Lord Chaitanya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this. As a super soul, he could understand it. He became somewhat despondent, thinking that I've come just to deliver all of these fallen people, but the end result is that they're criticizing. And then in his mind he thought that, but if I give up all of these external trappings, grihastha life, family life, my Brahmin thread, my Sikha, and I accept the renounced order of life, no one will dare criticize a sannyasi. At least that was 500 years ago. That's not the situation anymore. And so no one will criticize a sannyasi, therefore, best if I take sannyas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this sankalpa, this determination, and he told Nityananda Prabhu, who remained silent. Of course, as the Supreme Lord, he knew, yes, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. This is inevitable. This is what he's going to do in the second half of his Leela. And as a sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will do what Srila Prabhupada said was the most important part of Lord Chaitanya's mission, those 6 years in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travels around India and preaches. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Nityananda, it seems like he didn't want to tell his associates directly. He says, tell Gadadhar, tell Mukunda, tell Sachimata, and others. And of course, very quickly, the word spread. And devotees were very, very, very heartbroken that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would do this, but at the same time he was extremely determined. No, I must do this. And he explained this to them. Quite a few times this is repeated in Chaitanya Bhagavat. He says, but don't fret. I'll continue to remain with you in two forms. One, as Sankirtan, as the chanting of the holy name, and two, in my Murti form, as the Archa Vigraha. And in these two forms, you will always have my association. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came home, by that time the news already had reached Mother Sachi, and of course she was very, very despondent. Interesting that Chaitanya Bhagavat doesn't speak at all about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wife reacted. There's no mention. She's not even mentioned in this part of the Leela. Actually, it's very interesting. I was looking at a video of Srila Prabhupada, and if I remember right, this was in New Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada here was talking about how strict Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. We all know how strict he was in his relationships with women when he was a sannyasi. But Prabhupada said, even as a grihastha, he would never joke with women. He said, and even his wife. And then Prabhupada just cites one instance where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually had sort of a slight interaction with his wife. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada said he would be very, very serious, very stern with her. There was, if any of you have seen the films, two films that were made about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back in the 50s in India, then it's also very interesting that there's this one scene when Mother Sachi's teaching Lakshmi Priya how to cook. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he comes her husband, and when he comes in the scene, Lakshmi Priya completely covers her head, covers her face in the presence of her husband. That was, well, you could say it's Vedic culture. Some people will say it's just Bengali culture. But in any case, it was culture. And so Mother Sachi was extremely upset. and Lord Chaitanya pacified her, spoke to her. In Chaitanya Mangal, Murari Gupta's Chaitanya Mangal, there's a very, very long narration in which Lord Chaitanya pacifies his mother by relating the story of Dhruva Maharaj. And it's a unique perspective because the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells it, Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest and came to Vrindavan and he saw Krishna. Not Narayan, but he's talking about Krishna. But anyway, the crux of the story was, well look, here, I'm 24 years old and here's this 5-year-old boy and his mother told him to go to the forest. So why can't you follow her example? Why are you worrying about me? And so he narrates the story, and then somewhat Mother Sachi is pacified. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes a little rest, and then when everyone's sleeping, then he gets up and goes. Mother Sachi is still there. She's sitting at his doorstep. So she knows, but no one else knows. Others had wanted to go with him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said no, and he told Lord Nityananda, I will go to Katwa. Near Katwa, there lives Keshav Bharati, and I will take shelter of his lotus feet. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went, he crossed the river, and Mother Sachi just sat there in the doorway crying until, as in the morning, that was the custom, associates would come. And as soon as they saw her cry, they knew that, yes, now he's gone. And so they were all very heartbroken. And Mukunda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar, Chandrasekhar, and Brahmananda Bharati, those 5, they went to Katwa. All of Navadvip was just in chaos. No one else went. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu crossed the river, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I saw makes this interesting comment. He says some people, he didn't comment on it, but he says some people say that Keshav Bharati was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. He didn't say whether it was the case or not, but he said that. Usually we have the picture that he's a Mayavadi sannyasi, and of course, at that time, for the most part, sannyas meant Ekadanda sannyas, because they were just so dominant. Although in Srimad Bhagavatam, in this pastime of the Avanti Brahman, which I'll just come to at the end, there is a statement where it's described how the general people would actually deal with the Avanti Brahman. And there's one, I don't have it in front of me here, although I do have it here in my iPad, and there's one statement where it says that his danda, and it's described as not three dandi, but three sticks. Anyway, it was very clear that he had the word three is there, tree. And that was a long time ago. So this is Krishna 5,000 years ago speaking to Uddhava about something that had already happened before. So therefore Tridandi Sannyas had been existent. It's eternal. It's always been there. Not that it's something new. It's been as long as Vaishnavas are there, Vaishnavas always take this Tridandi Sannyas. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approached Keshav Bharati, and he was in this great ecstasy that now I've given everything up, I'm giving myself to Krishna. And Keshav Bharati then said, yes, tomorrow we'll have the sannyas ceremony. And I'm not going to go too long. There's the very, very dramatic shaving of the hair that takes place the next day, which seems like took most part of the day because the barber couldn't get himself to cut Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beautiful hair. Other associates were coming, they were protesting. The local women, they were putting up so many arguments, but finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just by his own transcendental potency, inspired the Brahmin to shave his head. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed. And during the night, Lord Chaitanya was taking sannyas in this Mayavad Sampradaya, Ekadandi sannyas. Of course, his whole mission was to actually defeat Mayavad philosophy. So he wasn't very pleased, very happy about accepting the sannyas mantra which he was going to receive, which was the favorite mantra. Srila Prabhupada talks a lot about it in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila. The favorite mantra of the sannyasis, Tattvamasi, you are that. So at night in his dream, this Brahmana appeared to Lord Chaitanya and instructed him that tomorrow, when it's time to take sannyas, then you should ask Keshav Bharati if this is the mantra that he's going to give you. The significance of that is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so who can give him Diksha? So by asking Keshav Bharati, he would first say the mantra. Keshav Bharati would confirm, yes, this is the correct mantra. That means he would have been initiated by the Lord, and all he's doing is just repeating what already the Lord had said. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't like the whole significance of how Mayavadis interpret, you are that, you are the Supreme. So the Brahmin said, no. The esoteric meaning of this mantra is not that you are Supreme, Tattvamasi, but you belong to Him. Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that. You belong to the Supreme. And he was very pleased by this understanding. So next day, Lord Chaitanya said, I had this dream, and would you like to hear this dream? And he told that dream to Keshav Bharati. And of course, the conception that one has of a mantra is the real essence of the mantra in itself. The actual words are just embodying that conception or that bhava. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, I heard this mantra, Tattvamasi, and the meaning is that you are His. You belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And of course, when Keshav Bharati heard that, then his whole impersonalist demeanor transformed, and he became a Shuddha Vaishnava, a pure Vaishnava. And he said, yes, that's the real meaning. And that's the mantra that he repeated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And thereafter, with a whole series of events in which Lord Chaitanya and his sannyas guru, as well as everyone else, was absorbed in the Sankirtan of Krishna's holy names, and there was great ecstasy. And Chaitanya Charitamrita describes how then Lord Chaitanya and Chaitanya Bhagavat wandered from place to place in Radhadesh, in that place where the Ganges doesn't flow, and along with Lord Nityananda. And while he was wandering there, he repeated this verse, Etam samastaya paramatmanishtam adhyashitam purvatme maharushidi aham tarishami durantaparam tamo mukundangri nishevayava. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me that when Srila Prabhupada gave him sannyas, and that was in Jaipur in front of Govindaji, all day long they were traveling around, and Prabhupada was just singing this verse all day, non-stop, in the car, when they were outside. Prabhupada was repeating this verse and chanting it even until nighttime. He just kept, and he was singing it. He was really in great bliss. The content of the verse, or the purport of the verse, is that this Avanti Brahmin, who was a wealthy Brahmin, but by the grace of the Lord, he was deprived of his wealth, and somewhere there was a spark of devotion to the Lord in him, which after going through all the tribulations of being cast out of society and becoming really a non-person, this desire for renunciation awoke in him. The actual context in which Krishna is speaking this verse to Uddhava is that Uddhava is asking, how does one actually become undisturbed in the face of criticism and the different obstacles that one comes across in terms of social intercourse between other people in this material world? And Lord Krishna wanted to explain to Uddhava that it's not simply by renouncing the world that you become free from this, but it's by learning tolerance that comes from executing devotional service to him. And so he explained this. Lord Chaitanya approved of this verse. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeated this verse, Srila Prabhupada was chanting this verse, and our sannyasis at the conclusion of their chanting Gayatri mantras, they also repeat this verse. Which means, and the Brahman was saying, I shall overcome this ocean of material suffering, tama, which is ignorance, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, in the same way that has also been done by the Maharishi, by other great sages, Purva, in past ages. In other words, the process of pure devotional service. Paratma Nishtam, one becomes fixed in the process of pure devotional service. And this is the real essence of our sannyas. That sannyas which isn't really dependent upon external dress. Although, of course, we have the formality of that sannyas ceremony. But Lord Krishna also says, Anashita karma palam karyam karam karoti asa sannyasi. That a sannyasi is not just the external decorum or the ceremony, but real sannyas can be practiced by grihastas, by women, by embracing within actually the essence of sannyas, which is paratmanishtam madhyashitam purvatme maharishivi, by practicing devotional service, by giving up everything to Krishna. Tattvamasi, we are his. We belong to Krishna, and we only live for serving Krishna. So when the Tridandi sannyas is there, then, and Srila Prabhupada refers to the Vishnu Swami sect, of course, which is one of the four sampradayas, that they have the three dandas, which represents one's body, mind, and words, and ultimately the addition of the Jiva Danda, which is there in order to show that we are completely tied up, completely connected to Krishna in all of our activities. So of course the sannyasis carry their danda as a proclamation that Tattvamasi, we belong to Krishna, we are Krishna's, we're not Krishna, but we're Nitya Krishna Das. We are Krishna's eternal servant. And other Vaishnavas, other devotees, if they really carry that emblem of pure devotional service within their heart, so sannyasi, then they're also as good as sannyas. And of course here, we're sitting in front of the emblem of topmost sannyas, and none of them have danda. Of course, Madhava's flute, that is the danda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's danda is actually his flute, Krishna's flute. But Srimati Radharani and all of the gopis, they are paratmanishtam. They have completely given themselves over to the Paratma or Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they're cowherd girls. So sannyas is not limited to just this external formality, although it is something that our Vaishnava Sampradaya encourages, Srila Prabhupada encouraged. And in that same sannyas ceremony, Srila Prabhupada was sitting on stage, and many of the people, Prabhupada had given a lecture, he'd given sannyas to his young sannyasi, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and people were coming and touching his feet. Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you know why they're touching my feet? Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, why? Because I've given up sex life. So ultimately, giving everything to Krishna means that we've given up the ultimate form of fruit of enjoyment, which is to enjoy one's senses with the members of the opposite sex, and commit oneself fully to the service of the Lord. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to ask those Vaishnavas who would like to speak a few words about our Badrinarayan Prabhu. I've known him for quite some time, even though we live on different continents. Most of our association has been here in Sridham Mayapur, we sit at opposite ends of the GBC table as well, although we tend to see eye to eye often. And I think all Vaishnavas know him as a very dedicated, staunch servitor of Srila Prabhupada, a real committed Vaishnav, an ideal Vaishnava, very strict, very conservative in his fidelity to Srila Prabhupada's teachings, and really a great contributor to our Krishna consciousness movement. And since I've already spoken so much, then I'll ask, what happened to my other microphone? I'm going to ask, those who would like to speak, and since our sannyas minister is Mosquito, if you'd like to say a few words. Can I just see a show of hands? How many of our esteemed Vaishnavas would like to speak? Great. Okay, we'll be passing it around.
I also know Badrinarayan Prabhu for some time. And just like Krishna, he has different qualities that are mentioned in the Nectar Devotion. Dear Lalita, dear Prasanta. And sometimes it appears that they're contradictory. But Krishna can balance all contrary qualities because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, sometimes we find in devotees different kinds of qualities. Sometimes they appear contradictory. But actually, by the Supreme Lord's mercy, they're all balanced. I think out of all the devotees I know, Badrinarayan Prabhu can be the most charming, and sometimes he can be the most fiery too. Luckily, the charm is appropriately used, and usually the fire is also appropriately used. Just like Prabhupada was very charming, he could charm people so that they became attracted to Krishna. So I don't think there's any better storyteller in our society, or who knows more varieties of stories in relation to Krishna consciousness than Badrinarayan Prabhu. His classes are attractive because they keep everyone enchanted by so many varieties of stories nicely put together to reach a Krishna conscious conclusion. At the same time, as Lord Nrsimhadev appears, all the demons run away. So I think when Badrinarayan Prabhu is in his fiery aspect, all the demons, they also run away. And in the heart of the devotees, all their demon-like qualities, they also run away. So I find that he's actually a great mercy as a representative of Srila Prabhupada to keep our society safe, sound, and blissful.
Haribo, Badrinarayan Prabhu ki jai.
Many other members will speak about different features, but I'll just mention one. First I'll mention Badrinarayan Prabhu was in many ways my Vartma Pradarshika guru. He was in charge of the Ann Arbor temple when I first was visiting the temple in Michigan. So I'm very indebted to him for many, many things, including that inspiration when I was still a college student to become more serious in my Krishna consciousness. I particularly want to appreciate, many devotees may not know that actually Badrinarayan has been living the life of a sannyasi for many years. As happens sometimes in our society, he spent years as they call a single parent. His wife many, many years ago gave up Krishna consciousness, and Badrinarayan Prabhu in a very selfless way continued to care for his two children and very attentively and raised them and dealt with their teenage years and all of those things that parents need to do. As a single parent, he probably could have come forward 15 or 20 years ago to take sannyas and would have been encouraged to do so. But I think he sets an example for our society that taking sannyas is not a passionate thing. It's not something done for prestige or for position, but it's done in the mood of service and how to increase one's service. And Badrinarayan Prabhu very attentively and humbly continued on in his grahasta, or his wearing the white cloth, fulfilling the responsibilities to his daughter, fulfilling the responsibilities to his son, both of them very exemplary young people, and now has come to a mature understanding that at this point, and again he could have done it years before, but in a very mature way, now I think this is a step to help enhance my service to Krishna. So I really think he set a wonderful model for others, and I deeply respect his mood in this way, taking sannyas. And I pray that Krishna will power him to become an even greater preacher and even greater in his examples for all of us. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki. I remember Gorpanima, 1994, 20 years ago. I was fortunate enough to take sannyas. I'd already been a brahmachari for more than 20 years, 22, 23 years. And but when I took sannyas that day, that Gorpanima, just everything became very different. I really felt, you could say, liberated, hopefully in a Krishna conscious way. So I'm extremely happy that Badrinarayan Prabhu is taking sannyas, and I really wish him all the very best and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
I just wish to speak a few words, because I know there's a lot of devotees who want to say something, and there'll be a lot of stories and glorification of Badrinarayan Prabhu's qualities, but I would like to speak about one particular quality that really, really attracts me about his personality.
You turn that a little louder back there.
I'm as close to the microphone as I can get. Next stage would be eating it. Anyways, my relationship with Badrinarayan Prabhu is more or less in our roles as GBC godbrothers who have been serving together on the GBC for the last, I guess this is the 28th year that we've been together on the GBC. And there's one quality that I've always recognized, that Badrinarayan Prabhu is not at all afraid to express himself. no matter what the circumstance may be, he's very determined always to try to establish principle. And he never in any ways tries to compromise when he's firmly convinced of some principles. And he can be quite outspoken. And I always have to listen to him very carefully, because although I don't always agree with him, I have to confess, sometimes I have a hard time understanding some of the things that, rarely, but sometimes. But what really attracts me is just how deep his love is for Srila Prabhupada. And when you hear him speak, when you hear him give him a class, he just pours out unlimited, like so many things about Prabhupada, that there's no doubt that he's constantly absorbed in Prabhupada. And he'll always pull out a story for anything about Prabhupada. And when I see that quality in him about how attached he is to Prabhupada, even if I have a difference of opinion, it just doesn't make any difference. I have to just accept that maybe there's two ways to look at something, and maybe we're both right. Because what's right is that I'm convinced that everything he does, he tries to do it to please Prabhupada. And this is a very attractive quality in him, and I'm very, very grateful to see that example on our GBC body. And now that he's taking sannyas, watch out. It's going to even be more hard to not accept what he has to say. Badrinarayan Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Like Shiva Maharaj, I live on the other side of the world to Badrinarayan Prabhu. And I first saw him actually the first time that I came to Mayapur, I think in 1987 or 88. And prior to that, I remember being a new devotee, a young brahmachari. And in those days we had cassette tapes that we would listen to of lectures. And you would listen to so-and-so Swami and so-and-so Maharaj and so-and-so Swami and so-and-so Maharaj. And somehow or another one day I saw a tape, and I don't think I'd ever seen a tape before that had, you know, so-and-so Das on it. So in my young, naive, immature mood, which probably still remains, I was thinking of just discarding that tape. But somehow or other I put it into the cassette. And it was Badrinarayan Prabhu speaking, giving class. And that had the effect of me stopping my offenses towards grihastas. Because I realized that actually, and as Maharaj said in his talk, that everybody can be sannyas, even the ladies. So I realized that a person that has a das after his name as opposed to a Swami could speak so wonderfully and so dedicatedly about Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Then I got to know much better coming here to the Mayapur, particularly for the GBC meetings. And I would just like to echo everything that everybody else has said about his wonderful, strong, convinced speaking. And there's one discussion by Srila Prabhupada where he talks about, are you convinced? And he's asking his GBC members about are they convinced? Essentially about the existence of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which obviously we have a bit of a problem as devotees if we're not convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have a little bit of a problem about convincing other people about that particular fact. But every time Badrinarayan Prabhu speaks on whatever subject he speaks in such a convinced way and such a committed way that it has the effect on me at least of being also convinced and committed to the points that he's raising and is making. And I just feel, since that time as a young brahmachari when I was committing all these offenses to the grihasta devotees, thinking that they were just wimps and that I'd never become one, but I have been one for the last 28 years. So I thank him for that. But I feel that he's just been a Shiksha Guru to me from that day right up to this day, and I just wish him all success in the sannyas ashram. But as Naranjan Maharaj did say, that if you have a different opinion to him and you see him walking towards you and he looks like he's in a serious mood and he's going to address that point with you, I would, as Prahlad Maharaj said, run the other way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I've known Badrinarayan probably the longest, 50 years ago, 1964. And even before devotee, he would always try to encourage the people to do the right thing. He would try to encourage them to do the right thing and encourage them. And when I started coming to the temple in 1970, it was great for me that he was already there coming to the temple. And so we used to stay there. During high school, we'd stay at the temple Saturday night, and he would show me how to help cut up vegetables, and we would make a feast really quick in Laguna, and then everybody'd get their cars and go to LA for a second feast with Srila Prabhupada. And Badrinarayan was always very dedicated right from the beginning then. And after high school, he went to LA, and I went to Europe and India. But we've always stayed in touch. He sent me a picture of Lord Nrsingadev years ago that I always travel with, because sometimes I end up in dangerous places, as we all do. But it's been wonderful to see someone from my high school class who's been dedicated to Krishna consciousness for so many years. And whenever he comes to Laguna, so many of the people come to see him speak, because he's still a wonderful inspiration. And now he'd be even a greater inspiration as a sannyasi. He was a good inspiration for me as a single parent, because I had to raise children by myself. And it's just great when we see that other devotees can do it. So I'm so glad that I get to be here with you while you take your sannyasa, and I will continue to serve you in what way I can. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So Badrinarayan Prabhu, as long as I can remember, has been a leader in Krishna consciousness, temple president, GBC for so many years. So I just want to say, in the name of the GBC and the leaders of this movement, that we're so very proud of him, that he is taking this step. I know he's taking this step because this is a step so he can increase his love for Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. So I ask all of you to please give you his blessings. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare. So he'll be successful as a sannyasi, as he has been successful in every step of his Krishna conscious life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I see Badrinarayan Prabhu is like the butler in Srila Prabhupada's house. And butlers can be very, very nice. They greet everyone at the door. And I consider myself to be like a sweeper that doesn't do his job so well sometimes, and I get a little chastised and a little warned sometimes by the butler to do your job properly. And if I don't do my job properly, I get chastised. And it's all for my own good. And Badri is always correct in his vision on things, and I must follow and be a better sweeper so that I can please Srila Prabhupada and please all the devotees in this ISKCON movement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I have a unique perspective on Badrinarayan Prabhu, since I've lived with him for 25 years, more or less, in his home base, San Diego. And of course, he's a world figure, and much of the time he's traveling and not physically there. But often he is. And one thing, several things I remember over this long period, and we've seen San Diego Temple go through various changes, and Badrinarayan Prabhu has always been there to sustain and maintain the standards and the increase of devotional service that has gone on there. And one of the things that stands out in my mind, besides all the incredible classes with the incredible stories, I must admit I've heard many of these stories many times. They're ever fresh. But there's really an impressive heroism. This is the only way I can say it, courage and heroism. Those of you who know the history of ISKCON in the last 25 years, 30 years, there have been so many challenges to the movement from within and from without. And Badrinarayan has been there right on the front lines, challenging. Who could imagine? I remember, I'm not going to make any detail, but those of you who know the history, in 1998, to fly into Germany to deal with this critical situation in 1998, which he did with Rabindra Swarup and some others. And other instances in that way where he never flinched from the challenges of what it takes to be a leader in ISKCON and be responsible. And I just regard, my service is very kind of hermetic, working on books and so forth, but it requires that there be a sense of stability and continuity in the movement, which is maintained by devotees like Badrinarayan and all the others on the GBC and others who take responsibility. So this is what I most appreciate about Badrinarayan. He's a very staunch defender of Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada's vision for the society. And I'm sure that will continue with the new ashram. I don't expect any extreme radical changes in his personality. But it's going to be, I just wanted to express my appreciation. 25 years, it'll be 25 years in July that I've known him personally in the San Diego Yatra. Srila Badrinarayan Prabhu ki jai.
I just want to quickly confirm what's already been said. I remember 39 years ago, we were traveling the library party through Michigan, and we stayed just a few hours in Ann Arbor, and Badrinarayan had a very deep impression on myself, and probably most of us, because he was so convinced and so fired up, and he had that sacred fire to give Krishna to others. It was so, he was effulgent in his enthusiasm, and so it really had a beautiful effect on me. And I said, "Oh, Prabhupada's, Shakti of certainty and unwavering conviction has been transferred to so many good souls, and this wonderful devotee, he had this sacred fire pushing on in Ann Arbor, and he was proud to tell us all the nice successes that Prabhupada had allowed him to offer in that service. And I got a real boost from that short association, and I'm thankful for him for that, and he's still an inspiration for all of us. Thank you very much.
Someone else amongst? Otherwise, any ladies, senior ladies who want to say anything? Here we have, where's the microphone? Speak well into the microphone.
I've known Badrinarayan since I first joined. My relationship is more as a daughter. And I joined San Diego in 1985, and he was always encouraging. And my father was very impressed with him, and he helped with the marriage of my husband and I. He had been a dedicated brahmachari for 8 years at his temple, and my father actually asked if he would be the MC at my wedding because he was so impressed, and ever since he's always been encouraging in my Krishna consciousness. And to so many of us, just from the women's point of view, he's always been very protective of the children in the community, and always was fighting for keeping the school, the Gurukula, for the children. And he's always encouraged us as grihastas to do that, even though we had to move away from the community and go to Alatra for schooling our children. He's always been very encouraging in that way, and us coming to Mayapur. And we just, really love him as a father and as our spiritual mentor and guide and Siksha Guru. and we're just so proud of him and happy. And he's, you know, he really deserves it. I mean, he's always been so strict with the women, and we're completely, you know, he's definitely very renounced, and all the years that we've known him. And so I just wanted to say thank you for being such a wonderful spiritual guide for us, our family. And I think my husband would like to say something too.
I'm not a lady, but my wife's giving me the mic, so Hare Krishna. Well, I had the good fortune to serve under His Grace Badrinarayan Prabhu for many years in San Diego, and kind of echoing Anuttama Prabhu, he's been living the life of a sannyasi for many, many years in a very selfless way. And I just have felt that the closer you would be to Badrinarayan, you would never see that there's a public or a private Badrinarayan Prabhu. He's just, what you see is what you get. He's very strict in his vows, probably ever since the day he took initiation, and I'm sure he'll be just as strict and more so with these vows and do a wonderful job spreading Krishna consciousness around the world. Hare Krishna.
Any other ladies? Is that it? Any other gentlemen? You want to say something? All right. Go ahead. Children. There we go. Right.
I'm very happy because I'm speaking to just speak a little bit about Badrinarayan Prabhu, because I can see that either good devotee.
Anything else? No. Okay, blessings from the Kumaras. Anyone else? Well, we've got ladies and men and children and cows. All right, if that's it, then we'll continue. All right, thank you all very much. And now we're going to ask Badrinarayan Prabhu to say a few words.
Hare Krishna, I'll be very short. I am deeply moved. I didn't know that this was going to happen. So I didn't know that this was going to happen, and I'm actually very embarrassed. But at the same time, it makes me very proud, and I hope a sublime way, to be a member of Prabhupada's family. That in spite of my small efforts, you know, like to take gold from an unclean place, and nectar from a stalk of poison, and a good lesson even from a fool, that you have managed to see in me qualities. All I can say is I hope that your words may become true in the future. And I'm just so grateful to have the association and to be living in such a society of wonderful saintly people. So thank you for tolerating me. I'll try to tone back the fire, but thank you very much. And I'm saying that for the deity, so you can call me on it. But I'm just so grateful that you've tolerated me all these years. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Hare Krishna.
Jai Badrinarayan Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Harmonium, not here. I will take, actually myself and Badrinarayan Prabhu will go. I will carry it. We'll take his cloth, offer it to Srila Prabhupada, Panchatattva, Nrsingadev and Radha Madhav. In the meantime, Niranjan Maharaj will chant a little Hare Krishna. You can chant without, or there's a harmonium somewhere behind me. just go together. I'll go on the all first and then we'll stay. Yeah. No, Danda will be later.
Snubadaya, Krishna Kristaya, Uttare, Shamate Bhakti Vedanta. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Prabhu. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Sadi Goya Bhakta-vrinda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Badrinarayan Prabhu requested that he retain his name, which is suitable, and so therefore his sannyasi name will be Badrinarayan Dasa Goswami. And with all the blessings of the Vaishnavas, on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and our extraordinary lineage, going back to Radha Madhava, the Vaishnavas present him with his danda. Badrinarayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Vanchakalpaturubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Prabhanebhyo Vaishnavi Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. And I will have the fire ceremony outside. And that will conclude our wonderful ceremony, and then thereafter we'll go upstairs to Badrinarayan Goswami Maharaj, has the tendency to say Prabhu, to his room, give the sannyas mantra, and Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Panchakalpa ki jai, Shri Radha Madhav ki jai, Jai Nitai Go Premanandi,